Haha, that looks really cute.
Oh, I love it!
Welcome to the Mike Cassidy Photography Podcast.
Thank you, big voice in the sky. My name is Mike Cassidy, and I'm a boudoir photographer from New Jersey, and this is my show. I get to talk to some of the best photographers in the world to find out how they got started, what sparks their creativity, and what hurdles they've had to overcome to get their businesses going. Along the way, we'll probably have a few laughs, but I'm here to have in-depth conversations about all kinds of things you've always wanted to know from the best out there. So stay tuned. You never know what you may learn. Oh, hello. My name is Michael, and I'm your neighbor. Just a few brief notes tonight. I'm busy, and I'm frustrated. Well, actually now I'm not as frustrated, but I'll get into that in a moment. First thing I wanted to bring up is that there is hope. One thing I noticed is that my web traffic has started to creep back up steadily. I was looking at my Google Analytics and my traffic over the past 2 months or so, and it bottomed out as this virus started to take hold. It was like, boom, everything just vanished. And looking at this data, I noticed that the decline started late in February, very early in March, and it went down, 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 down. And my low point was March 14th. I don't even know what day that is. Let me see here. It's a Saturday. So Saturdays are usually a little bit lower, but it stayed bottomed out maybe for a week, 10 days, really kind of lower than I've ever had. And then in April, early April, it slowly started to go back up. And now everything is on the way back up. So maybe there is hope here. Maybe this is a sign of people are gaining a bit more confidence and thinking about getting out and doing some things, or maybe they're just tired of being stuck at home all the time. But at least that was a little bit of an encouraging thing for me to see. What else is going on? Well, I'm working on the website for the show. You know, I figured I had some downtime. I'd do it myself, and I was just making myself very frustrated, or actually, more accurately, I was like annoying myself. I wanted to do it, but I was just like floundering around, trying to figure out the design and the layout and changing it and changing it and changing it and never happy with anything. And it really made me just realize how much I hate web work. So here's what happened. I did hire somebody to do some custom photography, like product stuff for me for this website. And I got those pictures back and I loved them so much, I ordered more of them to use. And it's like so simple to do that. Then it just like dawned on me, just hire somebody for the website. Delegate. It is so worth it to pay a few $100 to do that. It's worth it just to save the Tylenol. And then suddenly I felt at ease and I felt very relaxed. So that's something now I've decided I'm going to be doing, just hiring someone to do that. I've been tinkering and wasting my time, and building websites isn't just my gig. It reminded me of something I always try to be mindful of, and that is time is your most valuable commodity, because you ain't getting any more of it. So use it wisely. Outsource when you can to make better use of your own time on things that are going to make you money or things that are going to make you happy. You know, there are experts out there that just do these type of things, whether it is like a podcast, artwork, web work, logo designs, and the list just goes on and on and on. Hire somebody. You can go on a site like Upwork or 99 Designs. You pay a few dollars, and people who are the real experts in that area, they take it off your hands, and you will sleep like a baby. And you'll have more time to do the things that are important. You know, like I said, like servicing your clients and making some extra money and having some quiet time. You know, enough preaching there with that, though. So on with the show. My guest today is Gina Ritacco. Gina is a professional makeup artist and a businesswoman. The role of makeup artists in photography, particularly in like glamour and boudoir photography, they're kind of unsung. They're an important part of the experience. They are an integral part of the client experience, and their role is larger than you may think. Makeup artists are on the front line, and they really set the tone for your business when dealing with nervous clients and stuff like that. It's super important, and a great makeup artist is invaluable. So today, we're going to learn a little bit about this process and why makeup artists are so important to photography. This is the part where I shut up, and let's get on with the show. Stay safe, everyone, and enjoy this episode. Talk to you next time. Okay, so now you're on.
We are live.
America is listening to you.
Hello, America.
Hello, America. My guest today is Gina Ritacco, one of the makeup people I have worked with for years. And so, Gina, take a moment to introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, Mike, and hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be doing this. This is actually my first podcast, so this is awesome. Thank you, Mike, for having me. So my name is Gina Ritacco. I am the owner of Gina Ritacco Makeup. I'm a makeup artist, and I do mostly bridal work, and I also work for Mike in his boudoir sessions, and I do the makeup for them as well.
And now we were fumbling through trying to get this whole podcast thing to work for like 10 minutes. And we finally did it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, my first time was a little rough.
Technical difficulties, getting headsets and Bluetooth on there, and now suddenly you're going to become a podcaster. Listen for Gina's podcast. Coming soon.
Oh, yes. Coming soon, 2020, late 2020, when I find a microphone that works.
We have time. Like, this is another thing where who has time? You know, like, I'm so busy. I work all day, I come home, I'm sitting up, and then I have all my photos to do, and it's just one more thing. It's one more piece of work to do between all the blog posts I write and Instagram and everything else. So who knows why anybody would want to do this? It's just
being
so
on social media is just a job in itself.
It's another whole job. It's like another thing that you kind of sort of have to do, and it's sort of expected, and yeah, it's a lot, and I think people think it's so easy, and it's not.
It's very time-consuming.
It's very time-consuming, and you would know that because you do still like YouTube videos and stuff like that. So, you know, that takes hours to
dabbling in the YouTube world, and now I'm trying to focus a little bit more on strictly Instagram video, and just editing those videos alone that are like 30 to 1 second minute clips or take hours.
On Instagram TV, you mean, to do that? Is that where you're putting that?
And just like little Instagram videos in general, just like little clips, you know, for the page.
But not Instagram, like what they call Instagram TV, like the longer. You mean just filming it on your...
I do both, but both are time consuming, is what I'm saying.
But are you,
like they're short.
Filming them and just uploading them, or are you just like doing it live on your phone?
No, so usually they're pre-recorded, and then I'll edit them down to make them.
And then you just upload it. So you're not like holding your phone and going like live on Instagram and recording.
Oh, no.
You're pre-producing it, and then... I gotcha. Yeah. I thought that's what you meant. Yeah, it's a lot of work. All that editing is a lot of time.
Exactly.
So the first time you said, how long did it ever take you to do your first video? Like hours, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes, sitting, like my first YouTube video was probably the first thing I recorded because I did YouTube videos before I did Instagram videos. And that was like a whole process within itself. You like sat down just talking to yourself, feeling like a weirdo in front of the camera for like a couple hours and like stuttering over your words because it's the first time you've ever like talked in a room alone just to a camera, and it felt so weird and awkward. So the first time, yeah, it does. It really does. It's weirder than you would think it would be.
It is. What do you use to edit the videos? What program do you use for?
I do all my editing through Final Cut Pro for video.
And that's hard to learn. That stuff, that's a whole process and learn how to edit. And people think it's so easy, and it takes I hate doing it. It takes hours and hours to do.
Video is extremely hard, and just the program itself, that's another thing. You're right, like a whole nother learning experience.
and how often do you screw up? Like, how many times do we not see you cursing and screaming?
Oh my God, I have a whole section of outtakes that you could probably laugh for hours over.
And it's happy, and then that's the angry son of a...
There'll be times I'm like talking, and I'll burp or something. I have to like cut it out.
There you go. That's what happens to all of us.
It's
but it is
normal,
work.
it's natural.
And it is work. And I did notice too, I just happened to like look for the first time that you have your Google business listing on there now. Because when I put it in it pops up and I see you on the little information bar on the side of Google.
Yes, so you're actually the one who told me to do that.
You're official, because you need that. And that's like very important to be found. Because otherwise you're just out there. And I think we were talking about this a couple of years ago when, doing makeup or talking about makeup and on Instagram, or if you have a website, if you're not pinning it down to a particular location, people don't know where you are, because you really don't search by location on Instagram. You may put makeup or something like, could it be Denver, or could it be anywhere in the country? So there's got to be some way for that.
I like to pinpoint like my hashtags when I'm doing it on Instagram, like New Jersey makeup artist, like what you would do, like New Jersey boudoir photographer for your hashtag, and that actually helps a lot.
People find you through, how do most people, how are most people finding you?
Through Instagram, believe it or not. I would say probably about 75 to 85% of my clients are finding me through Instagram.
Really? And do they ever tell you how they're searching, or how they're coming across you?
It's through hashtags mostly, and just through browsing, I guess, just like, I think it would be mostly through hashtags.
And then they message you on Instagram.
Well, I have in my bio on Instagram that says, like, please email me, because it's hard to keep up with inquiries through direct
it's
message.
Not the best message system on.
No,
there.
it's not. It's definitely not.
And the different inboxes, it kind of gets cluttered. So that's good. Yeah, because I don't get too many people through Instagram. I have a lot of people on there, they look at the pictures and stuff like, but I don't have, very rarely do I have like a customer contact me through Instagram. On mine, it's like 99.9% through my website, because people can look through all the photos, and I guess they want to see that first.
I think it's also the difference in like our businesses. I feel like makeup on Instagram is such like a big like majority of people who are there to view makeup. Like there's a huge group of people that just go to Instagram directly for like makeup tutorials, makeup pictures, just to get inspiration for themselves and stuff like that. So I think it's also like a niche market to get
so that's
clients
where people
through
know
Instagram.
to go.
Yeah.
They know to go there too. Yeah, that's interesting. And so when you're done with, say, a wedding or something, are you getting the photos from the photographer, or are you taking your own photos to show your website of the brides?
Most of the time, with pretty much every wedding, I'll take like a before and after picture of my brides or my clients, depending on what kind of job it is, just like event makeup or whatever. But I'll always take my own pictures for sure. And then if the photographer is nice enough to grab my email, and when he's done editing to send me a few, that I'll grab them that way too. But that usually takes like a couple months or a couple weeks down the line as well.
Slow. It's backed up.
The
So you may get them months later. And
so I do like
women,
my own.
These women don't mind these before pictures. See, that's the thing that always like.
I always ask. I always get permission.
They're okay, because I don't do that, and there's a lot of photographers that do. They'll like even put that on their website, like the before, and they're like, they look like they rolled out of bed, and women don't want to see that. And then they show the after. I'm like, what are you trying to say? So to me, that was always like a.
I know. I really don't enjoy that whole concept of like before and after. I'm not saying like you're ugly before you're makeup.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
I guess some people take it that way, but it's more so to show the artwork, like show really what you can do. But yeah, no, not everyone does agree to a before and after picture. I always ask, and some people are like, no, girl, you can take an after picture.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was just curious. Yeah, because a lot of women, they don't want to be seen without makeup, and especially like in a situation, who knows? But yeah,
almost always they'll let you take an after picture, though. Even the after picture still is good advertising for you, though, because it still encapsulates your work.
See, and so you get a hold of these pictures mostly from weddings. Yeah, that's good material, because you're doing weddings all the time, so you always have fresh faces to upload, and people want to see new photos of brides and makeup and products. You do a lot of product videos, I see. Are you getting that stuff? The companies send you these things, so you just come home and there's boxes by your door?
So
or are they contacting you first?
Not for me, not every day. With some of those larger influencers, they do get packages every single day. I've had a couple companies. I would consider myself a smaller influencer, so I don't get packages every single day. No, I buy the majority of my products. But I've had a couple companies, like CoverGirl, just happen to find me on Instagram or on YouTube and reach out and contact me through email and be like, hey, we like your stuff. We'd like to send you some of our products to try out. And they just grab your address and they'll send you out some products.
What if it's not good? Isn't that like a weird?
You're not required to talk about it though. Unless it's like a paid promotion.
Open it up and you're like, ugh. You're like.
Yeah, if I get something that I don't enjoy, I just don't talk about it, or it will go into one of my videos on YouTube. That's one of those like hit or miss kind of videos.
But I guess there's some validity to that. But I guess you don't want to seem like a negative person. So that's the only thing I always wondered about that is people doing things. Everything can't be great, and then everything is great. Then I think your integrity comes into play.
Exactly. So it actually is good to talk about sometimes the products that you don't enjoy as well, because it does build up your
every once in a while
you a little bit more.
You have to stick it to somebody every once in a while just to kind of keep it real. And I don't do that too. I just started to get a few emails too from people saying, we want to send you, we're a company, we want to send you our product and do like a video review of this. And I always turn them down. I first of all, I don't have time to produce videos for like companies, and it just doesn't seem like anything I wanted to get involved in because I don't want to say bitter, but I have no interest in like a couple of weeks ago, someone sent me a whole thing to try out a tripod. They're like, we'll send you the tripod. We want you to do a blog post or go online and talk about this tripod. And I'm like, I don't really use tripods, and I don't really want to spend hours producing a video about something that I really have no interest in using or doing. So I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm not like your person, but that's not really my gig. But
there are a lot of people who do just specific reviews, and that's what they do for their job. So you focus mainly more working with your clients instead of doing like product reviews. Yeah,
it's also that too. I just, in my mind, like I said, it's weird. Like if someone's sending you something and you really don't use it, like if you don't like it, I'm always like, how can I act enthusiastic about something I don't use or don't know, and you're just doing it? But that's just me. There's tons of people, and I know a lot of people get like money to do that. Here's, X amount of dollars, like advertisements also, and you have to just pay. That's half of Instagram now is people holding up products and like talking about it. So I guess there's something behind it. But just for me, I don't know if I do that personally.
Yeah, I totally understand. I think it's different with all products too.
I think so.
For makeup, it's a bit easier because the minute I try a makeup product, like I know immediately if I like it or not. Like
you'll know.
Yeah.
Like how? How can one thing be like so different than another? If it's like two lipsticks or two, I don't know anything about
just the formula. Makeup. If it feels good, if the pigmentation is good,
it's
how
important,
long it wears. If I put a lipstick on and it's off my lips immediately in like an hour, I'm like, it wasn't that great.
I go, oh, yeah, it's important. I know it's important. It's a big thing. Like I said, it's not my universe. I don't know that much. About it, but I understand it's important to people. But you know what we're going to do first?
Yeah,
we're gonna go back in time, Gina. And
let's do it.
When you hear that sound, it means we're going back. We're going back in time.
Where are we going?
We're going way back. When I have people on, usually one of the things I do, and talking to mostly photographers on here, but it's interesting to go back and hear about how they started and how they got into doing what they were doing. And because in this show, initially what sort of started it was people were like messaging me on Instagram, like people from around the world, and like asking me photography questions. And I'm not a big technical photography guy, or they were asking me about my photos, and I would take a minute if it was like a legitimate question and answer them. And I remember there was someone out there, I was like, wow, I can't believe someone like you actually responded to me. I'm like, what do you mean someone like me? And he was like, yeah, no, it would always be interesting to hear like what a person like you, how you work and how how things are going on with you. So after a few messages like that was really the inspiration of starting to do that show, that there was kind of this interest in people who did that kind of for a living and how they worked and how other people who did that worked. Seems that people like hearing that. And so that's sort of in the show that I was doing, going back and talking to people and how they started, because in photography, it's not the case. It's an often big misconception. Like you go on Amazon, you buy a camera, and suddenly people brand themselves a professional photographer, and it just doesn't happen that way. It takes thousands of pictures and years to get good. It's not like you can go out to the sports store and buy the same golf clubs Tiger Woods uses. It doesn't mean you're a professional golfer.
Exactly.
But photography has that impression. So people like hearing about how someone starts because they're like, they can relate to that. Oh yeah, I'm having the same struggles, you know? So when you first were getting involved in makeup, how did that all start, or what was the inspiration there that got you?
So wow, things are totally different now. I feel like with makeup, like with how people get started, I feel like it's such a different ballgame. So years ago, I guess I started about almost almost 7 years ago now. And you were actually one of the first people that I worked with, which is so funny. Our friend anniversaries, I guess now almost. Probably around this time, actually, when I first started.
Yeah, it was a while. It started, it had to be 2013, 2014 or so.
Somewhere there. Actually, so back in the day, kind of the way to get started on doing makeup was to just basically set up a portfolio. And I did that by just reaching out to some photographers and going on this website called Model Mayhem, which was like the big website back then for makeup artists and models and photographers to all network. I'm not sure if people really even use it anymore because I haven't been on it in years. Yeah. But I think it's definitely diminished over the past couple of years with the new Instagram and the big social media craze. That website probably doesn't, people don't use it like they did.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think so.
But yeah, that's how I really started. And I hooked up with some photographers, and we would do things called trade shoots where I would do the makeup and a model would come in. She would do the modeling, and a photographer, they would all get together and do these trade shoots to kind of build everyone's portfolio and get some pictures. So what I did from there was just take my pictures and put them on social media. I started an Instagram, and I would post pictures of my makeup and makeup on myself and kind of just put it out there that I was doing makeup, and it really just snowballed. I would say it was just very good timing too. It was at like the brink of when Instagram was kind of blowing up. Yeah. And it took off very quickly from there, to be honest. And it's just gotten better and better over the years. Once I started putting out like that I did one wedding, I just got a flock of emails from friends and family, and it was a lot of word of mouth from there.
How that started.
Yeah, and then I met you through the Model Mayhem website.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about it till you mentioned it. And I think you may be right, and I haven't been on there in years and years either. But that's you got to get a start like somehow, you know, because it's the same thing like in photography, and people, especially if you want to start shooting people. You got to start some way, and even if it's just working for free or working with other people, you get that experience, and sort of take it from there. So that's an interesting start. But I'm curious, like when you look back, or if you look back, how bad was it? Like, were you terrible when it started? Do you notice like a change?
I definitely see improvement, like 100% throughout the years. I think you definitely get better with every single makeup application that you do. If I go back and look at pictures from the very first clients that I did, obviously they're definitely not as good as the skill set I have today.
Like, oh my God, I can't believe how I got away with that. No, but it's very similar in photography. I wouldn't say it was
that bad. Like, I definitely was able to.
You get better as you go along. It's the same thing. And I ask people, do they remember their first photo session, or how bad was it? And people are like, always like, oh my God, yeah. But that's part of the process, and you have to start somewhere. No one jumps in at the top level. It's always sort of like a learning curve. And I think one of the things,
learn your business you're in.
Yeah, with makeup too, and I think there's a lot of people that want to get started in makeup, and it seems like an alluring way to go, but I think they don't realize how much work is involved in that. It's not just it's the marketing,
time consuming. When I first started, I would come home from my regular job every single day, no matter how tired I was, and just do a full face of makeup and do a new eye look and take pictures of it and put it on the internet. So it was kind of like, again, the social media is another job outside its job. You have to be consistent. You have to just keep people aware of what you're doing. Like, stay in the know to people, or you just fade out.
And do you remember your first wedding?
Post like one picture a year, no one's going to hire you, you know?
Right, no. Do you remember your first wedding? Do you remember your first official wedding? And how scary was that looking back on it? Or
I was very scared. I was extremely scared.
What happened on that day?
Prior to that first wedding, I had only done like one person at a time. So this was like a 4-person group, which at that time when I first got started was like 4 is a lot of people. And now I do like 10 to 13 person groups, and it's like nothing. But that 4-person group, I was like, oh my God, like, am I going to finish them on time? You really have to be like aware of time management, because with bridal parties, you have schedules you have to stick to, because you need the bride ready on time. And if you go past the photographer's time, he starts getting mad or she starts getting mad. But yeah, I was nervous, but everything went smoothly, and the bride was really, really nice. It was a super sweet group, so it was a good first experience.
You made it through okay.
I
Wasn't
did.
Any trauma or anything that that popped up all the way. Oh, and that's good because once again, I would think too that especially in makeup, you may work with someone who is already doing makeup. That's probably the easiest way to do it, to like be a partner or an assistant to somebody that's established, so that way you can get in and rather than throwing themselves in and not really knowing.
That is actually another part of my growing experience. Denise, who you know, Denise, Makeup by Denise, you actually had introduced us to each other, and it was in the brink of, also when I first got started, she needed help with a big wedding party, and you had referred her to me, said you guys should link up and help each other out. So she actually called me, and I went to a job with her, and then now we do jobs together all the time, and she really helped me grow when I was kind of just like building my kit, and she offered product recommendations and a lot of good knowledge that I tell her all the time, like, you really helped me grow.
Yeah. And to learn with somebody who's doing that, and it can really help you from making some mistakes and learn how that process goes, and it can probably get you to a certain point quicker than figuring it out on your own. So that's a good system, absolutely, I think, to buddy up with somebody like that and to help you get started. So usually, are you alone or are you working with other people? Mostly, I know sometimes there's some other makeup artists I use, they have like clans, and they all seem to like clan together, and they work in like clans.
No, I wouldn't say I have a clan. For the most part, I'm alone on jobs. I only bring in another person. I have other artists that I'll work with for large groups. If it's a time crunch and I can't get, say, that group size done in a certain amount of time, I have another artist I'll bring in, and we'll just get that job done together.
How many people is too many? Like, how many people is like...
I would say there's never too many. You would just need
a time.
Multiple artists.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I meant for
20
you.
people.
Like
for just me?
Yeah, for just you. Like when someone says there's X number, you're like, ooh, I got to go get another person. Like, how many is too many? Just for
I usually like to cut it off at 10, just because I feel like
that's a lot of people.
I know.
And it could take half an hour, 45 minutes for each person.
It takes that's why it takes like a full day. It almost takes like I did. Usually when I do these groups at 10, we start like the wee hours of the morning, like 5, 6 a.m. And then we don't finish until like 3 p.m. But I'm like going straight through, no breaks, no like.
See, that's what I don't understand. How are these brides like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and how are they making it through, or how are they not looking exhausted? That's like, ooh.
A lot of good makeup.
I guess that's the answer.
A lot of good concealer.
Because I hate getting people up early. Now I have people that drive from all over the place, and I don't want tired, because when people look tired, you could tell, and that's something you can't fix. So that's what I was always curious about. Everybody seems like, and you had such early mornings, and I'm like, ooh.
Well, if we're talking about just like the wedding makeup industry, we're getting ready earlier and earlier because of the first look with photographers. They want to do the first look before their ceremony, where the bride and groom do their first look together before the actual ceremony, and do a little secluded photo shoot. Together. Yes. So they get most of their pictures out of the way, so they don't have to miss their cocktail hour. But since they have to do that before the ceremony, it pushes the getting ready time in the morning very early.
I don't know. These people get married way too early. Got it late at night. That's where it's at. People be awake, relaxed.
My earliest wedding, we had to start at 3:30 a.m.
That's ridiculous.
It was absolutely crazy. And I showed up and they were all still in bed.
That's just ridiculous. And I feel so bad for you having to get up that. And that's not even the driving time, because you have to get even earlier if you have to be there,
Yeah, I didn't sleep that night.
To travel, and that's like exhausting. But I guess you get used to it. I don't know. I guess that's how it goes. And that's such an intense day for brides. And this is going to sort of work into something I wanted to talk about a little bit with what I wanted to do. But when you roll in, like, tell me about like a typical day. If you're going out to a wedding and you have to drive to the venue, usually how does that process go? How do you know where to go, or how do you meet up with the people, and how does that typically work?
So it all starts at the first email, really. The bride reaches out through email, and she usually says like, hi, my wedding is so-and-so date. This is the location. This is the number of people that I have. Are you available? And that's kind of how the whole conversation gets started. So I'll email back and I'll be like, yes. And then as it gets closer to the date, we'll make schedules, and I'll schedule in for, say, it's 5 people, like 40 minutes per person. And then I also get confirmation from the photographer what time. Can you hear that? That little beep? I'm sorry.
No, I don't hear any beeps.
There was a little beep going off because of my computer. But so I get the confirmation from the photographer as to what time he needs the bridal party ready by, he or she needs the bridal party ready by, and then I will set my schedule according to that, and that's how the morning will go.
Oh, hello. It's Michael cutting in here. Sorry to interrupt, but we had some technical issues. Gina's Bluetooth headset died, and we tried to recharge and pick up, and we had some other issues recording the second half of this interview. So we put it on the side, waited about a week or two, and then we gave it a second shot. So you're going to hear a little bit of a break in continuity here, and I'm going to roll the second section. It's really took place about 2 weeks later, and we tried to pick up where we left off. So just wanted to cut in, give you a little bit of an idea of what was going on here. So on with the show. Roll tape. Okay, we're back on.
We are live.
Again, the second time. But there's one difference. Hear that?
I hear it.
This is where things have changed in the past 2 weeks. So now, Gina and I are coming from my underground bunker, piled high with toilet paper, as high as the eye can see, in our new coronavirus world. We were just free people
crazy.
2 weeks ago, and now we are locked inside.
I know. We had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, we had some problems. So we're going to try again to finish this up in our new coronavirus
in our lockdown
mode. Yeah, I was talking to somebody yesterday, one of my other photography friends. We recorded a show and talked about the virus. Of course, we didn't wind up talking about the virus too much. We just talked about basically everything else, like two people who love to talk about photography. So we were just going on, being that nobody else really has anything else to do.
I know. I mean, this is awesome because it can pass our time and help us out a little bit while we're
You're
here
very
bored.
boring, so this is really... This is difficult. I'm trying to make the best of this situation.
Oh, Mike, I keep you alive.
I know. So we're all... But I guess we're all canceled now. Everything is...
I know, it's absolutely
canceled.
crazy. My business is really taking a hurting on this one.
Yeah.
All weddings have been canceled until further notice. So it's really put me in a rock and a hard place. And it's just scary not knowing when everything's going to be back to normal and when I'm going to get my job back, really.
I know. And they're good for... Hopefully it's just a short time, in a couple weeks. But people don't know we're in the epicenter of this...
We're in limbo right now.
Virus, it's all coming out of New York. It's the worst place in the country, or we're not too far from that. So it's slowly coming out.
I think right now New Jersey's the top 2. I think New York's the first, and then New Jersey is second on the list of top cases.
I know. So we're just
scary stuff.
Trying to stay inside, and hopefully this goes past. I was telling her I had to run out yesterday to get some food because I couldn't get anything delivered. So, stay away from people. I'm not going out for another 2 weeks. I'm just going to be staying
Me either.
inside.
I'm staying in the comfort of my home, safe.
I know. I think we're at the fringe of that safety element of going out anywhere. So it's not worth it to me. We're going to be here for a couple of weeks, so we might as well record some podcasts. And then hopefully everything will get back to normal soon.
I hope so. I think it will. Within the next 2 weeks or so, we'll start seeing some more normalcy. I hope, at least.
Yeah, I know, because you get kind of stir crazy sitting inside. But we'll go back to pick up what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about you going out and doing weddings, and when you are in the process of hauling all your things inside, and we were talking about how early some of these weddings start and how you have to get up at the crack of dawn or in the darkness even to travel and to get ready. What kind of shape are you finding these brides? Are they nervous? Are they not even awake because it's 2:30 in the morning when you have to roll in? So what is your job as sort of calming these people down? Because what we were trying to talk about is, when people come in to see me, they're always very nervous. And part of the job of the makeup artist there is to be that calming force.
Yeah,
so I was
definitely.
curious, do you run into nervous brides too, or are they just not awake?
It's definitely a mixture. It also depends what time it is. If it's early in the morning, sometimes you get those really tired people that you gotta wake them up, get them out of bed, and get them going, especially if it's super, super early. And then, of course, you always have some nervous brides. It's a nerve-wracking day. It's like the most important day of your life, so you're there to be that calming force, like you said. Just like with the boudoir, it's something that you've never done before. Most people have never gotten married before. Most people have never done a boudoir session. So the makeup artist is that middleman that kind of has experience in those events, because we do them a lot. So we're there to kind of talk to them and be like, this is how it goes down. There's no need to worry. And be the calming force of the day.
But are they, I guess, really super nervous, or no? Is they're just, by this time, they're just glad that it's over and where it's happening? Because it's been like 7 or 8 months worth of buildup, and they've probably been on the go nonstop. And
I would say it's half and half. Half are very nervous, and the other half is very calm and just ready to take on the day that they work so hard with planning and everything for. And they're just really calm at that point because everything's already done, and then they can just enjoy the day. So some are really nervous, some aren't. It's 50-50.
And I guess they know you because you've had interaction with them. It's not like the first time they've seen you showing up on that wedding day, because you've had bridal trials or whatever. So they kind of, you're not a new face to them walking
exactly.
in off
now,
the
for you, it's like a different story. How do you think your clients feel for like?
Well, you know that everybody's, well, I don't want to say everybody, but I'm going to say 80% of the people are nervous. Whether they really are showing it or not is another thing. Some people are like super, super nervous. And I guess, coming into a strange place with a strange dude to take your clothes off is not something that people do every day. So, of course, there's a bit of anxiety that maybe comes with that. But, in short time, it only takes a few minutes, and then people suddenly realize that there's no real need to be nervous. They kind of like, oh, this is actually really a lot of fun to do. And then like your job when coming to work with clients like with me is really, as I mentioned a moment ago, is like a frontline kind of calming force to these people, because you're really the first person that they kind of run into, and they'll be sitting with you for an hour or so. And you hear often a lot, oh, nervous, I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous. And
all the time.
That's what you run into. So what are you would know that you would hear the things more than I do, because I stay out of the way of.
Well, I'm sure you get it in emails like, oh, I'm so nervous to come in, and you kind of have to have like interaction in your emails. So I'm sure. But
all my emails, the texts are all people telling me how nervous they are. And I get it. I understand.
I would be nervous. I've never done a boudoir session myself, and I think going into it, I would be a little nervous. So.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, it's a natural thing, because people don't do that all the time. And then when they do come in, I think the first thing is, it's like if you have and this is not the best kind of way to relate this, but when you have someone who has like a hyper dog, you don't want to go up to a hyper dog and go like make a move real and make the dog more hyper. You just have to be very calm. So you just have to be very calm when these people come in, and just don't give them any reason to be more anxious. And it's not that I do anything, or it's not that I act in any certain kind. I'm just me. I'm just how I am.
Yeah, I think you're a really like calm person in general. So when people
so not to make it like the key is not to make it worse. Just to kind of like, I don't know. I don't really do anything in particular.
I think just your personality in general, when people first meet you, they're already calmed by it, because.
Like, is it calm or is it boring? They see me and they're like, they start yawning. They're like, this guy's putting me right to sleep.
No.
So boring. But yeah, and they'll come in and as you know, a lot of these women get up, they don't eat, they probably don't sleep that much the night before. Not everybody. There are some people who come in and I can tell they're just like excited and ready to go. But for that first hour or so, like, they could be a little on edge. So it's interesting. Do you have anything that you remember of someone who was like super nervous, or anything that you would say to people?
I think it's almost with 90% of the sessions that the girls come in nervous. And I'm always just like, they're like what happens? They always ask me, like, how does this go down? So I just say you do your makeup, and then you take a couple test shots to kind of just get the situation warmed up. And this is just from my perspective. Like, I don't really know exactly what happens when they get into the room, but, you know, I get the gist of it. So I kind of just explain to them how the whole process goes down from my point of view. And it helps. I think just having another person there throughout the whole process instead of just the client showing up by themselves.
Alone. Yeah, and I always
helps.
You probably don't know, but I'm always like in my material that always goes out to these people. So I was like, bring somebody along if you want to, because I don't care. You know, it's boring for the other person to like wait around, but people do ask me from time to time, and a lot of people say they're going to bring somebody else with them, like a friend, but then they kind of like show up by themselves anyway.
I feel like that's something I would do.
Yeah, and that's all right. There's nothing wrong. Like I said, moral support, and it's right in all my stuff. Bring your moral support along. You know, just if that's what you helps you get through that day, I'm fine with that.
I think people just have their guard up in general, especially over something like a situation like that they've never done before. So
yeah,
it's definitely normal.
No, it is normal. And then, you know, also I have this kind of system where when people come in and they go through that whole process. When we're finished, I'm not having them rip all their clothes off at first. You know, I do regular pictures at first. Like I always tell people to bring a dress, or if they're not like a dress, wear jeans and something. And we do some regular like photos first, again, to kind of get them used to the process of taking pictures, so they're not feeling so vulnerable if it's like jumping right into it like that. And there's a couple reasons for that. As like I mentioned, it just gets people used to taking pictures. And then secondly, I like doing those portraits. Actually, I'd rather do portraits than other stuff, but those pictures get the most mileage because people can take them and go home and they share them online or... Yeah,
and I've seen a lot of them that you've done, and they actually come out really pretty. And it's pictures, like, again, you can use for other things, like on your Facebook page, because it's not just you in your underwear.
No, and we do prints, you know, wall art and stuff like that. So people, like I said, they get mileage in more situations than some of the other photos we do. So yeah, there's a whole process with that in keeping women dressed. Yeah, you'll have to stick around one time longer just to see how that all goes through and that process. Because I was always very very reserved. I was talking about this yesterday with my friend Trevor. I never even wanted to keep things very reined in a lot of times. And once people do get a bit relaxed, you know, and there would always be some people I want to do something wilder. And I would always be like, isn't this enough for you? You know? So I was even more conservative than, maybe not ultra, than on purpose, because I didn't want people to think that I was trying to like push them too far. And then I started to get a lot of feedback like afterwards when people wanted to kind of do something a little bit
more risque.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to say I wasn't against it first, but I felt that it wasn't necessary. But then, you know, I was talking to some people and I found it's not really about me. It's about what, you know, if that's what somebody wants to do, then
got to make the client happy. You know, what they want.
You know, so I've changed a little bit in that, and it's a little bit trickier to try to get that idea if someone wants to go down that road or not. And it's more situational, and I'll talk to somebody and I'll, you know, like, especially when it comes to like nudity and stuff like that. I mean, so many people do it more than I thought would. But at least I'll just bring it up now. We're doing anything like just we're going to do this or we'll do that. And I'll also have an idea, because a lot of people send in photos. Like they'll even send me my own photos or find pictures online. So that gives me an idea of the direction.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to get an idea of what the client is looking for by the photos. I feel like maybe you should always just ask them, send me some photos of what you're looking for out of your pictures. And then
I do. Not everybody does that, because I don't know, maybe some people don't know or they're just leaving it up to me. But sometimes you do. And then sometimes I'll see the pictures and I'll be like, ooh, it's going to be a long day.
I know. I've heard some crazy stories.
Because it gets, and the one thing, it does get wilder and wilder over the past couple of years. Some of the things that people come in or that they want to do, and I don't judge anybody. Again, hey, if people are grown and adults and they want to go in and they're having fun and, you know, it's between them, that's okay. I have no problem, as long as we keep it within those riverbanks, you know, operating within those boundaries. So,
yeah, boundaries is a good word. Boundaries.
So boundaries, the boundaries. Yeah, and I've learned. I don't. Actually, like I said, more conservative. I rather keep people more clothes on than not. And also, when people are nervous or if they're tired, I can't fix that. You know, when people have that look on their face afterwards, and you can see it, and I can see it in the first couple of photos too, and generally don't get used. And you can see at that point where they finally start to relax and have a little bit of fun, as far as they're not all. You can see it in their hands. You can just see it in their whole face, the little tension or uneasy. And then a lot of those first pictures are throwaways because you could just see how the person is a little bit nervous there. But I want to jump back over, like jumping all over the place, and go back into weddings. And I know when you come in and stay with me, you don't always stay the whole entire time, maybe a little bit longer, but usually we're doing it and I'm kind of alone because, again, it's kind of boring just to sit around unless someone needs a touch-up or something like that. But when you go in and do a wedding, are you staying there for the whole entire time, or you just do that and leave, or the brides need touch-ups through the day?
For the most part, it's just our first morning schedule, so I'll do that schedule, and then at the end of however many people I have to do, I'll do a quick round of touch-ups, and then that's usually the end of my day, and then extra touch-ups are usually an add-on to a package. So I usually don't typically stay unless someone adds that onto their package. But usually the makeup touch-ups are so minimal that people don't need it because the makeup that we use for bridal is like rock solid.
Not coming off.
It's not coming off.
Be there all day long.
It should be. If it's applied correctly, there should be minimal touch-ups.
Well, good. Yeah, and it's a tough job, you know. And one thing I'm always looking at photos online. I'm like one of these people. I study everything, and I can like immediately tell now, more or less, when someone is getting professional makeup done or not. I'm sure you have a good eye for it. Yeah, well, I'm not always right, but I can usually tell if I'm looking at other photographers and they'll show these poses, and you can tell the woman just did it herself, and you're like, it really does detract, I think, from that. So I think it's important to do. I think it's part of the experience too. Having that makeover, it's just part of what I do, the whole process, sitting down.
It's the fun part. Getting glam is so fun for girls.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, guys.
So, yeah, you know, and it's not something that people do every day. So, you know, it is I think that's important for the final look of the photo. And not only that, it's just part of the experience. But as you know, we run into some people who say, well, I don't usually wear makeup, or I don't wear makeup at all. And then I don't get involved.
It's totally different for a photo shoot, though. The way makeup translates in a photo, it doesn't come off the way it looks in person. And I feel like if you weren't to wear any makeup, it's going to take away from your photos because you're not going to look, I don't know, what is a good word? I don't want to... Unfinished. Unfinished is a good word because it's really going to translate that way. Like if you just roll out of bed and go get your photos taken and you don't have like a professional makeup application, not saying that it has to be applied heavily, like dramatic makeup, but just even to have a little something correctly applied will make a big difference in your photos.
It does. And I don't get involved with all that makeup part going on because, you know, that's your business. But as soon as I hear, and we do hear that from time to time, when someone comes in, I'm not really a makeup person. That's when I just go in, guess what? You're going to make up today. Because I'm not doing it on the computer for like 24 straight hours trying to put mascara on you afterward because
it's really hard to explain it to people sometimes that just don't understand. But I think I think it would be a good thing to actually show someone, like, here's a picture of someone who didn't have their makeup done for this photo shoot. Here's one who did, and you could see the difference right away, I think. You
can. And then my second thing I usually say to people is when we're sitting there with them and it's like, did you look at any of my photos on my gallery? And they're like, yes. I'm like, you know, the first thing you don't notice is, oh my God, how much makeup does this person? That is not a thought that goes, and everybody on there has lashes and everything done. And I guess it's just a bit of uncertainty. Again, they're afraid that it's going to be too much or they're not going to look like them.
It's the unknown.
So is that something you struggle with, even just in general, where people think, because they don't see what's happening?
A lot of people don't wear makeup on a daily basis, and they are afraid of what they are going to look like when they're done because it's not something they're used to. So again, just trying to get an idea of what they're comfortable with, what the boundaries are, how far you can go with the makeup, how much they want. You have to get a good idea of the person's needs and wants before you go into it and make them comfortable and know they're going to be comfortable with the outcome.
And how do you know, like, which direction to go in? Is it just feedback from them, or do you just know by looking at somebody's skin? And
I always just ask a couple questions in the beginning, and it also depends on the person's age, too. Less is more with a more mature client, usually, in most cases. Because makeup, it can exaggerate things, and it can settle in places that you don't want it to. So less is always more with a more mature crowd. But asking them a few questions, like, what do you wear on a normal basis? Do you wear anything? That will give you a good range of how far you can take it. If they say, I don't wear anything ever, then you know not to go too dramatic. If they say, I wear a full face of glam all the time, I love makeup, obviously that gives you a good idea of what you can do.
Are there bad makeup people, like whether you're in the process of doing it and they're like, no, it has to be done this way? Or do you see a lot of women that just do their own makeup poorly?
I mean,
or is it more of a personal thing? Like, would someone way too much do this or not enough of that, and it just looks kind of silly?
I mean,
and then you have to step in and be like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
You're talking about me seeing a person wearing makeup and being like,
if you encountered somebody, like if someone, I don't know whether they were showing you a picture or just saying, this is what I want, and you're like, I'm not doing makeup that looks like that. Is there people who wear it wrong that you would say that's not how this works?
I've definitely run into situations like that where someone per se would show me something that I necessarily wouldn't recommend, but it's also about making the client happy too. So you have to find that happy medium where you're gonna make the person look good, but also do what they want. Like, say they want a lip color that you probably wouldn't pick, you still gotta make them happy, because if you pick something that they don't want, they're gonna not be happy with the result in the end. So you gotta find that happy medium, and it's hard.
Yeah, and it is hard. And what something it was just, why do you think women can't put this together in large part for themselves? Is it time? Is it the products, or what's the difference there?
I think like doing their makeup themselves.
Yeah, or
like a photo shoot.
To do that kind of same. Yeah, like why women don't.
I think aren't able to. Most of it is not having
technique or not knowledge.
Technique and knowledge. I have practiced many years to like perfect what I do. So someone who maybe just does makeup once in a while, occasionally, probably wouldn't have the skill set to do a photo shoot makeup and make it translate the way it should in a professional photo. I think that's the big difference, just not having the skill set, and maybe even the product sometimes. And like certain foundations and stuff can also cause like flashback in photos. You have to be careful of that. So some people who just are everyday sort of wearers might not know those things.
Interesting. And then you mentioned just a few moments ago, but I guess people who are different ages, there's different ways you have to approach younger people versus very older.
Definitely.
Not allowed to call anybody older anymore, mature.
It's very different. It's very different. Even noticing in my own skin, like from how I applied my makeup a couple years ago, is different now because my skin is different. I'm seeing the aging. I'm seeing a little bit more fine lines. So you have to just tailor things to everybody. Everybody's makeup application is going to be different and personalized.
I get it. It's a lot of hard work. And so now you have to start dishing a little dirt here.
Oh, geez.
And, where I'm like tangentially involved in the wedding and bridal industry, and we've all heard these stories about like crazy brides, and so I need to know. It's important that I know now, like your crazy bride stories that you've had in the past. I'm telling you, I really don't get a lot of crazy brides, and I'll tell you the reason why is because we do trials before their wedding day, so I know going into it like exactly what they want, so I'm really not going into any situations blind. I feel like a lot of times the crazy scenarios kind of happen with more people in the bridal party, like bridesmaids or maybe like a mother of the bride. They need to do more shots. Yeah. Honestly, sometimes the mother of the bride is very, very wired and just kind of on edge because it's a very nerve-wracking day, especially if it's the first child to get married. They could take that out a lot of times on the makeup artist, which isn't always the easiest situations. But I really don't get a lot. I think I've been very lucky in
my time being a makeup artist to not have that many bad situations.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And I wasn't thinking about you because you are meeting them beforehand. So I guess if there was somebody that was truly like crazy, you could like dismiss yourself from that situation and say, well, maybe you're not the person for me. So
I've heard some crazy stories. I know it's pretty boring. I was
hoping you'd have something. That was going to be the highlight of the show. And you just,
I'll give you one that was like kind of, it's not even that it's crazy, but in my head, I guess it's a little crazy, where I've had a bridesmaid, and I always ask my clients, like, again, what do you like? Do you like more natural? Do you like this? Is there specific colors? I always ask that. And this girl goes, no, I just want something natural and do whatever you want. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I do this like natural, very light kind of smoky eye. It looked great on her. We're all said and done. She takes the mirror and she looks at it and she goes, why didn't you use purple?
There you go.
And I'm like, I mean, that wasn't my go-to for like a natural look. And she was like, well, I just assumed you were going to use purple. And I'm like, oh geez, where is this going? This is bad. But just popped a little purple on the girl's eyes and she was happy.
She was good to go. But I guess to a degree, people don't know what they want. It is a guessing game to a degree. So you know, unless they give you specific instructions, then how would you know? Exactly.
I always try and ask them to be as specific as they can if they want something specific. But this one was just like a lack of communication, and she just assumed I was going to use purple.
Yeah, most people seem very pleased, like I said, and I see a lot of it because there's a lot going on. People don't know. And then until people stand up and look at themselves in the mirror, they don't really even see it. And I'm going to tell you, 99.9% of the time, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's me. Or people are like super happy with one they see. I think I only remember one time some woman, again, with the lipstick was either not red or she wanted red. It was too red or not red enough. And it was a simple fix with somebody's lips. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward. And oh, hello. It's me again. And we wound up with another dead Bluetooth headset. So guess what Gina's getting for Christmas this year? Some wired headphones. But anyway, I think we made it through the rest of this podcast without incident. So once again, I'm going to pick up where we kind of continued here. All right. And one thing also, too, I noticed that this wasn't you, but one other person that does some work for me, Jenna, she was talking about a couple of weeks ago, one particular makeup artist, and I think she was closer way up to New York City, how this one woman just charged like an astronomical amount of money, like per woman. It was like $1,000.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Or something like that. And people can't get enough of her for some, I don't remember the name. They were talking about the name. I can't remember the name. But what enables somebody to do that? Or what are the different levels? And is that a good thing to shoot for someone in makeup?
So yeah, it's definitely a good thing to always be able to shoot for, be willing to price yourself as high as you can. But the way you get there is definitely through, number one, experience. Say someone who's only worked a year versus 10 years. The person who's worked longer obviously has more experience, can charge more. It depends on where you're located. So I've seen pricing higher towards New York and North Jersey higher than South Jersey, Central Jersey. It's just because it's relative. It's just a little bit more expensive there. And also knowledge, like how much knowledge you have on your products, how long you've been doing your trade, how well you know the products. If you've been to cosmetology school, all these things can definitely up your prices a bit, and celebrity clients too, for sure. If you are a celebrity makeup artist, you have celebrity clientele, that's another way you're able to up your pricing a bit as well. So,
help you, Jack. Is there a benefit to doing that? And like anything else, as that price goes up, your volume would tend to go down. I feel like, is there a case where you'd want to do fewer, but yet have a little bit more free time?
I feel like when you get to that position to where you are considered more of like a celebrity makeup artist, you're going to have constant work no matter how high your prices are, just because you're so in demand. So I don't think there's really any like lack of clients because you're pricing your
people are still going to want
they're still going to want you because you're a celebrity at that point.
Yeah, with anything else, and think of any product, whether it be an automobile or whatever, or a restaurant, as the price of whatever they're serving goes up, the volume goes down because there's always going to be fewer people at that price point than there would be at something lower. And it's also a danger in an extent, because in photography, what happens with a lot of photographers is when people decide to become a professional photographer, they just want anybody to come in and work. They'll do any kind of a job, and they will take people for $100 or $200 and do all of this work, and really there's nothing to show for it. Mm-hmm. And suddenly they realize that they're paying themselves like 10 cents an hour for what they do, and then they want to, at that point, start raising their prices dramatically. And all these people who will love them because they were a cheap photographer, suddenly they lose all of their clients because you used to charge now you're going to charge $600. I can't, and they kind of lose their audience. So it's important to kind of create that audience or target that kind of a level. Is that something that you consciously do, or how does that work?
Every year I feel like I try to up my pricing a little bit. I think that just comes with the trade. I think each year you gain more knowledge. You probably are putting more investments into your kit, into your products. Expenses go up, yes. So you should always buy a little. I think in every trade, probably up your pricing a little bit each year, which I do. And like you said, I have seen people who come back and they're like, oh, like, you upped your pricing? Like, it's not the same. Mm-hmm. But it comes with the territory. I think people, for the most part, understand that. And if they love your work, they will pay for it. But yeah, I've definitely seen that.
And it's true. And you want people to like you exactly because they want exactly what you offer.
Exactly.
You want them to fall in love with that look or that kind of experience they're going to have with you. And, that could come at any price, or the price that you determine. Like, I always get inquiries too, where it's kind of slowed down, but I would always get emails, or it would happen on Facebook more than anything else, that where someone would message me and say, oh my God, I'd love to come and work, but I can't afford you. Mm-hmm. And once in a while I will accommodate somebody, and I don't start emailing me and telling me you can't afford me, because I'm going to delete the emails. But I would get like an email, and I'm not the most expensive person out there. Yeah. I'm like a little mindful of that. And I have some, if I know someone can't, and I will, say, all right, we'll do it for X amount from time to time. But I find I don't necessarily feel personally to be the most expensive person out there. I'm not near the bottom at Shure, but I found like that kind of sweet spot. So do you keep like raising your rates? Do you find where you're going to be, or do you still accommodate people? I feel like you can pick and choose a little bit and charge people a little bit less.
I feel like where I'm at in my career, I'm kind of set in my pricing. Like I know my worth, I guess, to put it. And I feel like a lot of times people also are just price gouging. So they're just emailing an influx of people at the same time just to kind of find the cheapest price. So you kind of want to weed those people out too. I feel like sometimes quality over quantity is the best way to go.
Are you still on like those wedding sites? Because I know they let these brides like mass email everybody.
I think right now I'm only on Wedding Wire and The Knot. But to be honest, I barely update them. I always forget. Because I never got involved in that too much. But I still, even though you have to pay to be even seen on that, I still get, and I'm not even a wedding photographer, and you'll get these. And I know people who do that, and they said those brides just go on there. They mass email everybody. That's why I don't really like to be on it too much, because that's a lot of what's going on there. People are just mass emailing and just looking for the cheapest price.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that's what it seems like those websites are for. I know I wouldn't be paying to get, I don't want to be doing all that work for nothing. I get it. People are trying to save a buck here or there. And it's hard for people, it's, I guess what I can say, the closest thing, and I use this example, like if you were going out for your anniversary or something and you wanted to go for a nice dinner, how often is an anniversary? It's like a special occasion. Yeah. You may go to somewhere like in Red Bank, a homemade Mexican restaurant where they are in the kitchen making, that burrito from scratch, and it's like the best burrito ever. And, sit across from your partner and go, well, why are you spending $9 on a burrito? We can get one for $1 at Taco Bell. Mm-hmm. you know, there's always going to be levels. And in certain occasions, people will say for an anniversary that they, you know, I want that. I want a Taco Bell. It's a burrito, but it's $9 less than what we're getting here. So there are weird situations where people may understand this is a special occasion and it's worth paying for because I know what I'm getting.
I think a lot of people do understand that, especially for weddings. It's like the most important day of your life. You want your vendors to be good. Sometimes it's not the best idea to just shoot for the lowest price.
Cheapest.
Unless, I mean, everyone's in a different financial position, though, so it's different for everybody.
Then you guess you got to find your way when you go through. You got to find your sweet spot, and whether it's being a little bit busier and charging a little bit less, or raising your prices and doing a few fewer, or being really cheaper and doing more jobs. I guess it comes down to what somebody's comfortable doing or what works in their area. And just one or two more things here. And as far as the weddings go, how far ahead are brides typically starting their preparation?
Like, how far do they book you out?
Yeah.
I usually book out. I close my books about a year and a half out. That's how far I'll book out.
That's a long time.
It is. It's kind of scary sometimes to book your life that far in advance.
But it's good to know that you have that.
Yes. On the other hand, it's very good to just have that security. I usually don't book out farther than that, just because it's so hard to
know what's going to be happening, where you're going to be.
Because we're in contracts and stuff, so things get messy if you book too far out in advance. So I usually keep it to about a year and a half out, and that's usually around when people will start inquiring to start.
Yeah, that seems to be. And I'm not that far. Most of my brides are maybe 6 months ahead. I'm not usually hearing, maybe once in a while I'll get someone a year ahead, I'll do a session, but it seems to be much closer in terms of what I do. And I'm always trying to get people wedding jobs, but by the time they come to me, it seems all that is determined already. Like you said, they already have their makeup people long. Yeah,
I feel like makeup and hair is one of the first things brides book, just because it's how you look on your wedding day, and you want the person that you want. And makeup and hair do book out very far in advance for that reason. So brides really are reaching out about a year and a half in advance for their wedding hair and makeup.
They're very busy. You gotta get out there and do that. And there's a lot of cancellations
right now.
Is there love going wrong? Well, I don't mean. I know probably now there is, but I mean in general, do you get a lot of emails 2 months ahead of time or a month ago? We broke up. I hate him. We're not.
Oh my gosh, I've had very minimal of those in my time span of that I've been doing this. Thankfully, because that's such a sad thing to hear. I think I've had about 2 in total ever do that, and it's super sad. And I will usually refund them everything because I just feel so bad for their situation.
Well, I wouldn't. What if it was the woman's fault? What if she went out and did something and I just think it's the guy. Maybe it's not the guy. Oh my
gosh. I mean, I usually don't ask their situations. I just feel so bad because that's just horrible.
It is. We want things to end happy. I don't want, but it can happen. People could
it does happen.
Grow apart, and hey, it's better to find out then than
before it goes down. You're right.
I know. 3 months afterwards, when you realize you can't stand each other anymore. So that's good that there's not a lot of cancellations. That
thankfully.
Are getting together and
spreading the love.
We're in a world of cancellations right now, sitting home in our hoodies and
oh my gosh, it's been crazy.
Staring at out a window, and hopefully our universe will get back to normal. I was fortunate. I was telling Trevor that weirdly, I have not had a lot of sessions over the past 3 weeks or so. So I didn't have really a lot of people canceling, or it just lucked out that way. But going forward, starting into April, I have a lot.
Yeah, I'm wiped out until May completely. Every single wedding was wiped out.
Are they all canceled, or you're just kind of tentatively waiting to see?
For the most part, they all postponed their weddings till later in the year, which is great. But it's just crazy that you're out of work all of a sudden, almost instantly because of this virus. So yeah, I'm probably not going to be working for about a month and a half because of this. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's a not a good situation. And hopefully, as we mentioned earlier, this will just go through this area in a couple of weeks, and things will go back to normal. But it's just affecting not just what we do.
Oh yeah, there's
the photographers,
so many people,
venues, the caterers, everybody involved, and all the way from the top down. And
everyone's getting hurt with this one. all industries.
Quite a situation, and it's going to sweep, I guess it's in the West Coast, the East Coast, it's going to just go all through. And the person I was talking to yesterday is in Toronto, and said they're even shutting down up in Canada, and he was away on vacation. He was in Central America, and he didn't think he was going to be able to get back to his to his country because they're closing everything down. So that's
absolutely crazy. It just goes to show how fast something can change, though, and always have a backup plan, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. Now you tell me.
I know, right?
Why didn't you tell me? Should have told me that like a couple weeks ago.
Going forward now, after this whole thing, a lot of people in our industry and stuff are gonna probably start thinking of situations like this happening again and what they would do, because I feel like it was such a shock all at once, and none of us were prepared for this. But
no, it was something that was the other side of the world, and then the next minute it was affecting everything here. Well, hopefully we don't have to deal with something like this for the rest of our lives, and everyone just stay inside.
Stay safe.
You can go to the Popeyes drive-thru. Is that safe to do? Because we're not going in, or we best stay.
Are they even open? Oh, I think restaurants are open, right?
Restaurants, I think, are open.
Only for takeout.
You're allowed to go
only for takeout.
In the restaurant. You can go into the drive-thru, or they'll bring it out to you, or whatever. For whatever reason, we may not be able to get toilet paper, but I think we can get chicken if we need to go
to Popeyes.
To the Popeyes. Big fan of Popeyes. So we'll wrap it up here. I don't want to keep you for too long, but what you could do is tell everybody where they can find you. And there's one more thing I forgot too, because now there's something new.
Yes.
That's when we talked a couple weeks ago. So
yes,
we can talk about that a little bit too. Very exciting.
Very, very exciting. Okay, guys. So my name is Gina Ritacco, and you can find me on my social handles on Instagram at Gina Ritacco. And I also just launched my own cosmetics line, and that's called Velvet Pout Co. And you can find that on Instagram at Velvet Pout Co. And I have some 3D faux mink lashes and makeup artist lash sets, and all lashes for everybody.
That's very exciting. Do my customers get those now?
Oh, yes.
That's something.
All the Boudoir girls will be getting very luxury lashes.
So go online and check out these products. I have to say I was a little disappointed. I saw your photos yesterday. I was expecting to get that, Gina.
Oh yeah, you're not getting her today.
I didn't.
You guys gonna see me on this live video right now.
I got the bun and the hoodie.
Hey,
Gina,
we're on. You got quarantine, Gina. This is Gina under quarantine.
I didn't get Instagram, Gina.
You didn't get Instagram, Gina.
Oh man. Oh well. Well, maybe I'll get lucky in the future.
Maybe next time.
Next time. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this today.
Of course.
And
it's my pleasure.
It's fun talking. And again, it's just so. There's a lot more to Boudoir and what I do than just the photography part. Makeup artists are a very important part of that business and a part of the experience. And it's important to have someone who's super competent and is able to help your customers and sort of be that calming force in that session. And thanks for coming on. And
thank you for having me, Mike.
Enjoy your quarantine.
Yes, you too. Stay safe.